Thanks, Mr. Kishore, for having us
Thank you,
here.
Nisha. Welcome. Welcome to Hyderabad and our beautiful airport.
Well, yes, I have to say it's beautiful, and I've seen quite a few, so this really stands out. But that's the first question that I want to ask you. What has changed in the aviation industry in the last few years? Because you've been watching out for this space for a long, long time, but now everybody's talking about it in terms of how the sector is poised for an inflection. Right. What has really changed as per you?
So if you see, I think early 2000s, getting this PPP model into creation of aviation infrastructure, I think that was a big game changer, right? Previously, it was all with the public sector and it was mostly reactive. But identifying the potential of the aviation industry and creating that infrastructure so that potential can be converted into a reality. I think that is where Government of India, I think we should compliment Government of India. Early 2000s, this was the first PPP airport. The concession for this airport was, I think, in 2002, 2003. So from there, 2 decades now, I think sea change in how the growth of the industry has happened. Today, I think the other day the minister was saying we are having more than 100 airports, right? So now it is no longer in mode of transportation for the elite. It is for the common man. So a lot of focus on how do we transform the potential into reality. And in that journey, I think I should mention Hyderabad was the first PPP airport. And the way we took on to ourselves that it should not be just a terminal, but it should be really a landmark. So I was also saying the other day, saying that once we got this PPP airport, right from our chairman, we thought that it is our responsibility to make it into a success. Because it is very easy we fail, because once a PPP model project comes, expectations will grow, right? The tolerance levels will come down because now people want the best. So it was very easy for us to say, do a mediocre or average thing and show to the world saying that PPP doesn't work in aviation. So we took it as a responsibility that PPP should be made successful. We have to bring those real global benchmarks into aviation. So that is where I think Hyderabad Airport really created many firsts. Like the entire leadership went across all the global airports, right from our chairman and all the leadership, just to see which are the best things in various aspects of aviation infrastructure. Right from washrooms till the tech, what people are using. The unified control centers which were existing previously, which was not there in the Indian airports that time. The inline baggage. Previously, if you see, before the PPP airports came, your registered bags have to be checked in, screened before you go to the check-in counter, right? So we wanted the best seamless passenger experience. We were the first ones to bring in the concept of ORAT, that is operational readiness and transfer, because we were moving from an existing airport to a new airport. We should not see the hiccups saying that on the first day of the airport, baggage bills are not working, fits are not proper, signages are not proper. So we brought in many of the global partners. This was the first airport which had a LEED silver rating that time. First terminal which is LEED silver. So sustainability was one of the focus. And then the entire design itself was unique in the sense you create infrastructure, you don't have people to use it, a lot of capital investment, that means you're not utilizing the capital, what you have invested in a proper way. So we did a plan in such a way that the expansion of the airport, the expansion of the infrastructure can be done based on the traffic triggers. When we reach a particular traffic, that's the time you expand. So very seamlessly, you will not feel any congestion. If you take the example of Hyderabad Airport, we were handling 10 million passengers per annum in 2014-15. Come 2019, I was handling 22 million. Just before COVID, I was handling 22 million. So that is the sort of growth which has happened. And post-COVID, if you see the bounce back, because I am also the president of the ACI APAC. The ACI is the Airports Council International, which is the forum of all global airports. When we meet in our meetings, the bounce back still happening in other regions. But here we have bounced back, we have crossed the trend, what we were pre-COVID levels, and we are going for exponential growth. This airport, we expanded for a 34 million capacity. Already at 1 year down the line after the opening, I am already touching 30 million. So this is the time again for expansion, construction of second runway, this is the trend of all Indian airports. So a big example of how collaboration can happen with the public partners, private partners, and how you can ensure that the industry doesn't suffer and grow without compromising on the service quality. I think that's a big, I think, contribution to the world, how India has demonstrated in the aviation infrastructure.
Yeah, and you guys are leading by example, as you said, because you were at the vantage point to start first. But you talked about many facets. So let me talk about them one by one. You talked about the way the traffic has been growing from 10 to almost 30, 35 now. What's the projection from here on? Do you expect this double-digit kind of growth rate to continue with respect to traffic?
Absolutely, no doubt about that.
What's driving the growth in Hyderabad?
It is the aspiration. One is the airport and the aviation charges, whether the airport or airline.
USDF and
Yeah,
all of that.
yeah. So this is like it's still within the reach of the man. People have now started realizing the value of time. Previously, when I just got into my IAS, first time I went to Delhi. So 24 hours using AP Express, right? So today, I think people have realized that the money what they're paying for this mode of travel, the return what they're getting in terms of time saved, I think that is big thing. And today people are started traveling more, like globally, internationally also. Now what has happened is, this has also coincided with last 2 decades has also coincided with the digital growth, the IT industry growth in India. No longer people are looking for government jobs, right? It is all about startups, entrepreneurs, being work in digital. So people started, the income levels have increased. Now they want to see globally.
Correct.
Go to destinations, tourism, leisure, work. So international travel has increased in India. So I think these are some of the drivers. One is then the policy of the ministry. Aam Aadmi ko aviation should be accessible.
Correct.
Right? Ude Aam Aadmi, Udan scheme.
Correct.
So that is where I think we are creating infrastructure. We are ensuring that the charges are at affordable levels, giving more focus on service quality. And today one of the best airlines globally also is our Indian carriers, be it Indigo, Air India and all those things. So I think it's a mix of those things. And today with all this growth, Anisha, only 4% of Indian population use
Still traveling? Oh,
yeah,
wow, that's the penetration level, only 4?
4 to 5%. And globally if you see, at least 10 to 12%. So
Yeah,
that means
huge runway for growth.
the growth, without getting into a very ambitious sort of a thing, minimum just to mimic what other developed economies are doing. So, so you need a lot of infrastructure, you need a lot of this thing, and it cannot be reactive. It has to be proactive. When you talk about infrastructure constraint or the need for expanding the infrastructure, it is not uniform. If you see, if you come from the air side, it is the air side capacity, right? How many landings can happen?
Correct.
What is the taxiing time? How much is the time which an aircraft is occupying the main runway? So that is one aspect of infrastructure. So we'll have to first, because these are all capital intensive,
Correct.
the focus is being to how do we sweat the asset
Maximum
before you
efficiency
go
out
for
of that.
expand. Like today I was saying this is 34 million.
Yeah.
Before I go for my second terminal or second runway, my first focus is how do I extract more out of this infrastructure. Like previously I was saying before COVID, we were at 2015 10 million, 2019 20 million. It was the same terminal was designed for 12 million, but extracted almost 60-70% more
out
after
of
that,
it.
right? And this is where technology comes, process efficiencies come, advocacy to private public partners, saying that today if you see, Hyderabad Airport was the first airport which dispensed away with the stamping of boarding cards, stamping of hand baggage tags, right? Previously if you see,
I'm not sure if Hyderabad was the first, but yes, that helped a lot.
Yeah. So it was the first airport where the pilot was done.
Interesting.
And we brought in the video analytics instead of the manual stamping. We had to do a lot of advocacy with the regulators, CASF and all those things. And now that has increased productivity. So there was a constraint in hand baggage screening capacity, like per hour how many bags are being screened, right? And how many people are screened. So we brought in technology. Now we also tested remote screening of handbags that time, which will almost increase 50 to 60% of the capacity of this thing. So I need not expand any of the X-ray machines or the security lanes just by increasing the throughput. So there is a multi-pronged, what I should say, interventions will be planned or being planned in the industry, where first any airport, because bringing in new capital is more, what I should say, difficult. And it puts a burden on the passengers. So what we are doing as an industry is first sweating the asset is an important thing.
Yeah.
In the sweating of the asset, where are the constraints? Is it at security? Is it at check-in? Is it at the boarding? Is it at baggage handling? Is it the airside number of movements? Right? So we are looking into these micro level things and we are trying to improve, like security. If you take 10 years back, everyone used to come into the terminal, go to the airline counters, and then you do your check-in process, then you move to security. Now last 10 years, Anisha, you might have realized, no longer we go to the check-in counters for taking your boarding card. It's all online. It is all off airport.
Correct.
That means certain processes which are happening within the airport
have been
now
taken off.
Correct,
yeah.
Right? So all hand baggage people, they are taking their boarding cards and all. Hyderabad, what we did, all the hand baggage people, they can go directly to security. We got in a concept of express check-in. So people who are with their
directly walk into
the security.
Perfect.
As you enter the terminal, you go to the security.
Correct.
Right? That is what we did.
Yeah.
But then that was, I think we were having around 30 to 40% people with hand baggage. So I have reduced the stress on my terminal for this 30-40%. Means I have created additional capacity.
Yeah.
Now recently what we have done is even people with registered bags, we have provided a unique Cityside Checkin facility.
Oh.
The moment you get down at your car park, which is almost 4 levels below, everyone used to come up with their bags, right?
Yeah.
So that is putting stress on my elevators, escalators. There is a time going out.
And inconvenience to the passengers.
Inconvenience to passengers. And Hyderabad is a very strange place in the sense if you are going, 10 of your friends and relatives will come here. So all these people are coming to the departure level, which is making it more looking congested.
Correct.
So we brought in this new concept of Cityside Check-in, where you come out of your car park, there is a facility where you can check in your bags.
Baggage there itself.
Baggage, boarding cards you can take. All your friends and relatives, we have created beautiful food courts there. You can spend time, half an hour before, 45 minutes, when it is time for boarding, only the passenger comes up. And then he goes through the express. So you're creating more capacities. Previously, if you see the check-in X-ray machines, they had a throughput of only around 150, 180 per hour.
Okay.
Now we brought in this automatic tray retrieval system baggage, the long bells and automated thing, that has doubled. Right, with them you couple with remote screening, it will again grow by another 40-50%. This is what all the PPP airports have done. Even now the public sector run airports are also doing the same. So the focus of an airport is saying that how do I sweat the asset? How do you create, without compromising on passenger experience? How do we keep enhancing our service quality? How I am more proactive in creating the infrastructure? Means we should not say no to growth.
Correct.
Means we should always be ready.
Yes.
And if I am squeezing in more capacity in the existing infrastructure, I should make sure that passenger experience is not compromised. This is the first airport we dispensed away even boarding cards, manual boarding cards. We brought in a solution called e-boarding, which is like using your mobile phone. You can
just walk through everywhere. Yeah.
That was the genesis for your current DigiYatra.
DigiYatra, yeah.
Right. So e-boarding was there, 100% end to end. Then we thought, why should there be a mobile scanning and all? So how do we link biometrics into this? So Bangalore Airport, Hyderabad Airport, we all started working on these things. And then we took it to the ministry, and ministry was very, very proactive. The senior secretaries, ministers and all. And that is how the DigiYatra Foundation was created.
Wow, that's so interesting.
And that is a consortium of all the airports. DigiYatra Foundation.
Correct.
And we brought in this solution. Again, there was a lot of discussion on where do you store all this biometric data?
That's
because it cannot be another Aadhaar. I have big data centers storing all these things.
Correct.
So that is where again an innovative approach where data resides with the passenger.
So there is no.
So I don't store. If you are using DigiYatra, airport doesn't store, airline doesn't store.
Great.
It is with you, and whenever you're traveling,
that is when it's shared.
It's shared. And once you board your aircraft, if it's a departure, you board your aircraft, automatically it will be
deleted, sort of.
So that is a sort of a thing, very asset light, but tech savvy with blockchain, all those things. This is how DigiYatra is, and it is now worldwide. It is recognized as the best solution.
Absolutely, yeah. As it should be. But you know, that's very interesting how you're talking about all of these anecdotes and how technology is the big lever to actually sweat and get the cost efficiencies as well as efficiencies out of the system. We'll take a sip of our coffee, but we'll head into this very short break. On the other side, we'll discuss a lot more in terms of the digital transformation that's underway at the Hyderabad Airport. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, as promised, let's put the spotlight on the digital transformation which is underway, and that's exactly the first question in the sense. I've heard a lot about this APOC, and off late I've been reading a lot of headlines around it. Help me decode what exactly is this? How does it help the passengers and yourself?
See, Anisha, this is all about how do we transform your businesses digitally. Irrespective of whether you're in airports, aviation, airline, or any industry for that matter, can you make it data driven, right? Evidence-based decision making. And now with improvement in technologies, especially the digital technologies, processing powers have increased, storage costs have come down, cloud infrastructure is available.
Correct.
And with all the advancements in artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, all those things, how do we use all these weapons which are available in front of you to enhance your business, right? I think that is the paradigm.
Correct.
Right? And this concept of total airport management means how can you see the entire airport? As I said, it is an orchestration of various stakeholders and all those things, different objectives, different way of working and all those things. How do you bring in all this thing into one sort of a box and get a view of what is happening in your airport?
Correct.
Right? And depending on your requirement, you can further go deep and home
each
on
of
to an
the
individual. Yeah,
elements, correct.
you can home on to an individual for that matter. So from a security point of view, from an operational efficiency point of view, and also being more predictive rather than reactive. I mean, some incident has happened in the terminal, for example.
Okay.
Right? So today what happens, I see a camera and then I say something is there, then I will make
Dispatch somebody. Yeah.
I may not be able to see it also because there are 4,000 cameras. So now
you can't have an eye everywhere.
So what happens is one is real-time insights into operations. That is the first, what I should say, takeaways of creating this digital platform is as things happen, you get the insights, right? Anyone moving suspiciously in the terminal, immediately get an alert, that screen, that image will get focused, right? Similarly, that is from a security point of view. So that is
all of this sounds fairly simple to speak with, but if you look at the overall complexity of being in a smart airport, it involves a lot of this upskilling as well, right?
Right.
People need to be aware of, watching out for all of those triggers, etc. How did you go about upskilling your workforce here?
So upskilling is very important in the sense, one is knowing about the new things which are available. Second is when we are doing a new digital intervention, for example, the ultimate users, there should be a buy-in.
Yeah,
like suppose I'll give you one example. When previously our security, we used to stamp the hand baggage tags, right?
Okay.
We have started a new digital upskilling program for all the senior leaders because it flow from top.
Top, exactly.
Right.
Correct.
So we started a new digital upskilling program where all the senior leaders go through these online things. And we also started an innovation platform in GMR, which we call it as GMR Innovex. So that is a platform which brings in all the business leaders, do brainstorming with them to identify where are the issues, challenges or opportunities where we can leverage with digital technologies. And if ready-made solutions are not available in the market, we bring in the startups. We bring in startups.
Yes, the Innovex platform,
yeah,
correct.
we bring in the startups, we co-create new solutions with them. We have a corporate venture fund which invests into promising startups. So this epoch, what we have done is also a culmination of activity which started from Innovex and then along with some startups, and also we have our IT service provider called Vasil, which is an expert in airport IT and
correct,
all.
Yeah.
So jointly we developed this solution.
But yeah, we're talking about how, all of these solutions need to be sustainable in terms of generating returns also. But what about sustainability itself? Because in the rush of, making all of this thing digital, there's also the pressure of, reducing carbon footprint, making sure that, all of this sustainability angle is also taken care of. How are you ensuring that?
So now, one of the major things which is happening globally in aviation is how do we become net zero?
Correct.
Right? Aviation as an industry, we want to demonstrate that it is one of the most friendly industry in terms of environment friendly.
Yeah.
So, I think you are conversant with scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions and all. So, all the airports, scope 1 and scope 2, Airports Council International has come out with a framework and they are rating airports level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. I am very happy to say that most of the Indian airports are in level 5. Delhi is level 5 plus, Hyderabad is also getting into level 5 plus. And what we are doing is, one is the use of tech, But there are other sources of carbon emissions and all those things. See, the utilities what we use, especially the power, so green power, like Cochin has a full-fledged solar. Hyderabad is one where the entire airport is run only on green energy, 100%.
Commendable.
100%. We have a 10 megawatt captive solar plant here, and then we are expanding it to, we have vision to expand it to some 35 to 40 megawatts. So energy consumption is green, renewable. Second, what we have done is, especially in Hyderabad, we have this big chunk of land, around 5,000 odd acres. And this is a part of the Deccan Plateau, so very undulated terrain. So what we've done is we used satellite imagery to see what is the natural drainage patterns. And we have impounded all the rainwater into a reservoir. So today we have a reservoir within the airport campus where almost 4 to 5 months of my airport requirement water is from there. I'm not using the public utility.
So not pressurizing the public infrastructure at all.
And what has happened, because I have imported the rainwater, groundwater levels have improved significantly around the area. Downstream villages and all, they're very happy. Because previously, otherwise, the water levels were falling so
because
drastically.
airport is a big guzzler of all of these resources otherwise.
So because of we impounding water, the water levels outside, today they can hand wells they are using. Otherwise, they were going into tube wells.
Borings and all of that stuff.
So that's it. Entire landscape what we are having here, it is all with treated water. We don't use potable water, drinking water for that. So these are some of the things which are looking. And I said this terminal, this is the first LEED silver. Most of the designs from an environmental point of view, less lighting. If you see, there is more of natural lighting. Natural lighting.
Yeah, correct.
And with our epoch, we are also monitoring the temperature levels across the terminal non-intrusive. So suppose I find more people here, the temperatures are increasing. Previously, what used to happen, some passenger will put on social media, AC
it's
is
cold
not
and
working.
It's hot and then you have to...
Now I get real time. I know. And with my AAML, automatically the temperature get correct.
Interesting.
So these are some of the things, sustainable airports. And of course, the fuel emissions of the aircrafts and all, people, now globally we are looking into sustainable aviation fuel, hydrogen powered this thing. One of our partners in our company is ADP, the Airport de Paris. So they are putting a lot of focus on sustainable aviation fuel. Recently we signed an MOU with the ministry to work on sustainable aviation fuels. And once the green hydrogen thing comes, how the fueling infrastructure will change. So we are working 1 decade ahead, 2 decades ahead. What is the sort? So it is not today's operations. We are also looking into future. And the goal right from the ministry is Indian aviation should have minimal impact on the environment. So that is the big thing what we are looking in.
And that leaves me with the big headline for this conversation. Thanks so much for making this so interesting and using all the anecdotes. Thanks so much, Mr.
Thank
Kishore,
you,
for having us here.
coming all the way to Hyderabad. And I think you should visit the city and enjoy one of the best cities in India.
I'll take you up on that, but thanks so much for joining us. With that, it's a wrap on this conversation. Stay tuned to ET Now for more.